Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Get in the car. We're going to Grandma's house. You know, I always get a little nostalgic about the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, I know, like, I was a kid, so obviously there's that, but there was something really endearing about so many things during that period of time. And hey, I hate car-dependent America as much as the next guy, but one of those things that I do look back on fondly are those car trips to, like, relatives' houses or maybe vacation or whatever. Growing up, my parents were pretty strict on how much I was allowed to play video games, but you know, the one place where I knew I'd be able to get multiple hours in of that sweet, sweet Pokemon action, it would be the car. I'm lucky that the Game Boy line of systems were extremely popular at this time because, for real, nothing really hit quite like playing one of the Pokemon games during a car trip. It's the perfect genre for being able to focus on the game when needed, but also, like, look up and look around to see things as you're driving by. The idea that I, myself, was also going on an adventure amplified my experience of doing the same thing in the Pokemon world. I know that sounds fucking silly, but it's true. Like, I have specific memories of locations in the Pokemon series directly tied to locations in real life. I remember driving through a rainstorm, like going on a trip down to Florida or something, while also being in that one part of Pokemon Emerald where it's downpouring, and it's like, this is the type of immersion that I'm talking about. It wasn't always ideal, though. Sometimes you actually did need one of those goofy little worm light things to plug in order to actually see if it was like dark or rainy out. I know you people who grew up playing a Game Boy Advanced SP with the light or like a DS and beyond, you guys didn't have to experience that. But yeah, the memes of people actually trying to catch the light underneath like a street lamp in order to get a brief second of gameplay in, that's actually true, man. It's a real thing. Besides the Game Boy, I think it was sometimes like a common thing for my family to somehow just strap a mini CRT into the car with like bungee cables holding it still. I know that this sounds pretty insane to me thinking back on this. Like, did my parents really went all out doing this stuff to make sure that we were entertained in the car. Shouts out to them for that, Jesus. But like, from talking with others, this sounds like it was somewhat of a common thing that people experienced. I mean, I have memories of having the N64 set up on the mini CRT and playing like the multiplayer mode of DK64 against my other siblings. Like, what a crazy experience. Why are we doing that in the car? The fact that we're playing that in the car at that time period is crazy. It's like, who would have thought that, you know, in however many years later, you could just get that same console quality experience, but just through a literal device that was designed to do just that, but with all the other, you know, work that you needed to get like a separate TV and power source and whatever, right? The CRT TV that we used to bring also had like a little VHS player attached to it. So watching VHS movies while playing on the Game Boy was also the move. Again, RPGs like Pokemon were great for this, but I also have fond memories of another RPG with Superstar Saga. Super cool game. It like gave me Paper Mario type vibes, but just on the go, right? The series of Scooby-Doo movies were a staple of the actual VHS rotation. Along with My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away, we would use some old headsets to like listen to the audio, and you know, these also worked for old portable CD players. The soundtrack of Tarzan was basically glued inside that thing, and me and my siblings all love listening to that soundtrack, and for good reason. That shit slapped, man. That was banger after banger in that soundtrack. And to really just put a bow on top of a fire-ass car trip would be a good old stop over at Mickey D's for a Happy Meal. The best were when you get like these little LCD game things as like the toy. I don't know how many different variations they had of these things, but I definitely remember having like a Sonic or a Monkey Ball one. These weren't really anything complex, but again, it was just fun to have something to kind of play around with during like a car trip like this. Along that line of like simple kind of dumb fun, we would sometimes also bring these little plug-and-play systems as well. Like, I remember personally learning about old Atari games through one of them, and then the other was like a surprisingly good SpongeBob thing, which, again, I don't know. These were just quick and easy time wasters that I had fun with. This was a little different from my other videos, a little short, but I don't know. I just had this concept in my mind and wanted to get that out there. So if you guys enjoyed listening to me talk about this stuff, if you guys have any sick, like, car trip memories, regardless of when, yeah, let me know. Let's hear it in the comments, guys. With that said, I'm getting out of here. Peace.